Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unboxing Women, where we explore the gender gap in the music and entertainment industry. If you're active in the music business, an independent artist, a musician, or are just curious about how it all works, then this pod is for you. My name is Dana Rex, and with me is my friend Micah Rose. We are both independent recording artists based in Europe, and we are here to reveal what really goes on behind the scenes. I love that sentence. You can listen to us on your on our YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast platform.
Yes.
All right.
Oh my god, we did it. We did it. Intro done.
Always hard.
Oh. No, we just had like a laughing fit, so it's a little bit of a always interesting to get your straight face back on, your game face.
Mm-hmm. It's a challenge.
But let's dive into the topic. Yeah, it's such a challenge. It's so hard for us. So hard.
Be
so the
serious
topic today.
No.
Well, I mean, the topic today is Autotune. So, I think a lot of people, when they hear Autotune, think, "Oh my god, it's like robotic and it's like the whatever." It sounds like you can always hear it, and it's so not the case. The thing is, I'm pretty sure I can almost always hear it. But I'm not sure I could hear it in a live show. I'd have to kind of probably listen for it. But oh my god, my cat is being so cute.
Little interlude. What is he doing?
Interlude. Well, he's just lying on the chair and he's licking his paw, and it's really cute.
Aww.
Yeah. Sorry for all the cat haters who are listening to us. Go away.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah. But anyway, I remember. No, I had a really interesting thing with Autotune, where I remember going to see the movie The Beauty and the Beast, and I remember a year before that when Emma Watson tweeted, "I can finally announce I'm going to be Beauty and Beauty and the Beast." And I guess it's time to start taking singing lessons.
Oh yeah, because she can't sing.
And I was like, okay. I love Emma Watson. I love her so much.
She's really
but
good.
Why do they not cast people who can sing?
Well,
like, what is wrong with people? No, but like I get the but no, just cast people who can sing.
Yes. I mean,
like, there's enough people.
There's enough. Exactly what I wanted to say. There's enough people who can act and sing, and give them a chance then to show both. Because yeah.
Like I love the way she portrayed Belle, and I love that she had the clout to be able to change some things that she wanted to do. That's all really nice. But I sat in that movie cinema, and the first song, I was like, Autotune, Autotune. This hurts my ears. It literally, I still love the movie, but it literally hurts my ears. I cannot listen to the songs she sings in too much. Like, I can tell where it's just her, because it's like her talking, singing voice, which is really beautiful. Like, I know she can sing. I just think she wasn't singing straight enough for Disney or for whatever the producers wanted. There was probably like a little wobble in there or something or whatever, and they just auto-tuned it out because they were like, no, we're not having that. And I think it's so stupid, because you completely lose the soul of the song as well in that instance. Right. And I could hear it. And I remember sitting there hearing it. My ears were bleeding. I got out of the cinema, and I told my friends, I was like, oh my God, so much auto-tune in that. And they were like, really?
They have no idea.
They have no idea.
No, they don't. They don't. I mean, to be fair, I watched it a while ago now. The problem for us is that if we can hear it, we can definitely, we hear it all the time, and it's just annoying, and then you can't hear past it. And with the world wanting everything, and especially in pop music, to be like perfect, it has to be perfectly tuned at like that note, but at zero. It has to be on the dot, wave wise, basically. It's a bit much. I have a love-hate relationship with Autotune, and I also am very frustrated with other people's opinions about Autotune, and I'll tell you why in a second. Because people who all of the people listening that are in the industry know this, okay? Just everyday people who are not in music, they love music. They're not in music, they love music. They're fan of a lot of artists, and that's great. But it's not because you love music and you listen to music all the time that you know about music. You know what I mean? So there's a big difference. And they're like acting, everybody's an expert. Like, oh, you should sing like this, or you should sing like that. Or, oh my God, have you heard her autotune there? And have you heard her live singing there? And it's like, oh, she can sing so well. Why does she autotune, her, like everything that's on her CD, her recordings or stuff like that. And it really annoys me because they have no idea that the autotune, could also be on in live shows, for example. It's now as this advanced that you can just you can autotune the shit out of a live show, and they're like, oh my God, look how well she can sing live,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but also autotune for others. So I think that people need to start realizing that sometimes, and also the marketing around pop music, sometimes they're fed things so much that they hear them all the time, so they think they like them. It's kind of like that thing too. That's a little bit my love-hate relationship with autotune. I mean, if you look at the origins for autotune and when it was really brought in, into mainstream pop was really Cher, was her if you believe in life after love.
In life after love.
Yeah, the Believe album.
Yeah. Do you? It's Do You Believe in Life After Love?
I don't know. Is it not just Believe? I don't know. Anyway, it's that one. Everybody knows it. And that's when they exaggerate, because she didn't, she had never used it before. And obviously in the 60s it wasn't a thing yet, or 70s.
Yeah.
So it's, it kind of started to creep in, and it was used for instruments before, So, and now all of a sudden they're like, let's just put this on a voice and see what happens. And then the producer there found it was like so cool to make her voice jump a little bit like that. Like it's an inhuman thing. You can't even reproduce that. I mean, with the best of will, and you can practice it and maybe get really good, but the exact thing, you can't reproduce it with a normal vocal cords. And it just became this overwhelming thing, like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden everybody needed to have it. And that's great. It's just that people nowadays don't understand that there's like levels of use in it. And although in like rap music, it's used a lot right now to explicitly for that effect, it's also used through basically all of the music genres, and sometimes so subtly. And there's also different programs. There's like Melodyne, which is different than autotunes that are maybe standard in the DAWs that we use. So it has different levels of existence, and
and you can also set it to be very, very small. Like
very
you can
light.
set how when you want it to like catch on. Do you want it to catch on when it's a quarter tone out, or do you want it to catch on if it's a half note out, or do you want to catch on when it's like a 12th note out, or like how strongly do you want it to change? Like when. Like
all the
how
settings.
bad you sing, basically. Yeah, there's all the settings. Then you can tune out vibrato completely, which sounds really weird. No.
Well, not completely sometimes, because sometimes it's so hard that you can really, then it just starts being robotic if you do.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something that has happened to me already, where, a producer is like, oh, can we like to tone this down? And I'm like, no, leave my vibrato, because I love it and I want it. And that's my personality.
That's your voice.
Yeah, that's my voice. So I want it in. So at one point, if you sing your note too sharp or too flat and there's vibrato in it, that doesn't really matter. You can bring the whole thing up or down. It's just that, it always amazes me, all the settings that it has. So it has the attack, it has, like a fade in and a fade out. You can like tweak certain tones, or even like you say, the vibrato or not. And it's just amazing. And sometimes when I use it, so I autotune my own vocals, because I don't like too much autotune. So I kind of make it, I don't want to say as imperfect as
I know what
as
you
it
mean,
can
though.
be, but I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely want, because the feeling in itself doesn't really go out if you use Autotune. Obviously, if you Autotune the shit out of it, then yes. But like
Yeah.
just a tiny bit, then the feeling will absolutely stay. It's just that feeling has to be overdone anyway because it's a recording.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you sing something live, you can always, and most of the time you can see the person, so it always has a different ring to it than if you're hearing something just through speakers because you have no context. A bit like when you're explaining something for real or something on WhatsApp, sometimes you misinterpret things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's true.
so yeah, I just and I get frustrated when there's TikToks with like, oh, let's compare this girl's, voice, and it's mostly girls that they compare, which
Yeah.
also, by the way, is very annoying, to live or their auto-tuned version of on the recording, but live people, we also use auto-tune now. Everybody's auto-tuned live. Yeah.
I remember there was one video going around. I think it was a compilation of that sort, because there are compilations of like live versus auto-tuned. And then there's one, I think at least one YouTuber, there's a couple probably, but there's at least one YouTuber who I've seen who does say, look, it's live auto-tune, and that's not live auto-tune and stuff like that. So you can kind of tell. I remember there being a video of Justin Bieber on some sort of small concert where his autotune, and this happens a lot, was set to the wrong pitch, so the wrong key, because you've got a song in a certain key, and so you set the autotune to that key. And if it's on the wrong key for that song, then it will auto-tune you to be wrong. So you will sound like you're off pitch completely. And so he just stopped the concert. He was like, it sounds like I've got a little bit of auto-tune on this. Can we just take it away? Because I don't need it. And,
nice one.
And it was just like, dude, you knew you had auto-tune on this. It's just on the wrong key. So
give them time to change the key.
It was smooth, but still.
Yeah.
It was, and the crowd went like, whoa! And I was like, yeah, but do you not understand that was supposed to be there originally, and it's just in the wrong pitch, and it's that's why he's changing it?
Yeah, and so people are thinking now he's turned it off, but that's
exactly,
they just changed it to the right pitch now because they have had time.
Well, that could be as well. Yeah. But I mean, even if he turned it off, he can sing.
It's
not like he
Justin
can't
Bieber
sing,
can
so it's
sing.
just.
But
it's really interesting. Yeah. It's easier because if you're doing live shows all the time as well, your voice is going to be tired. You're not going to be hitting all the pitches correctly. You're also, depending on your energy levels from day to day, you're going to have your voice is going to feel better or worse, and you're not going to have the concentration to be able to hit everything completely accurately.
Exactly, but look at that fact, the pressure that is put on artists, because this is not. This pressure comes from somewhere. This is not artists saying, I need to be perfect, no, because like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, it wasn't that way. And the songs were as good and as great, and everybody had a great time. Look at the Beatles and their crazy, hordes of people, or Elvis Presley, so why is it, where does that pressure come from that every artist has to be like perfect now? And it's basically a bit in line with having to be perfect on social media as well. So I kind of see that as the same difference, Yeah,
but you know what though? I don't think it comes from. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt your point.
No. It's that. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's absolutely linked, but it is a similar fad of everything having to be perfect. So not only the visuals of an influencer has to be like, and everybody knows they're fake, but then our voices have to be perfect as well. And why?
I think though that the voices having to be perfect isn't coming from the public, because the public doesn't realize. I don't think they would find a concert. Then
they make compilations about
yes. But I don't think that. I think that's like the few, right? If you're really going to sing shit on a live show,
then you're shit.
You're gonna end up in a
Exactly.
compilation. I mean, it probably happens to everybody at some point. But it's just there's so many things that play into that as well, which you have to kind of acknowledge that people don't acknowledge. Like if your in-ears aren't working and you can't hear yourself, how are you supposed to find your pitch? You don't know. It's very, very hard with everything going on stage. You can't. And then sometimes also a lot of stuff like the playback isn't actually going through the monitors to you, but it's going through your in-ears. And if your in-ears aren't working, then you're going to hear it with delay. So you're going to be singing with delay. And then like awful. In the public, it's going to be double delay because you're singing with delay and they're hearing it with double delay. And it's awful. So it's all these things are technical difficulties. And I think that every time I'm like, I put that pressure on myself to kind of be like, oh my God, that was flat. Oh my God, that was sharp. And I listen back to like live performances of myself and I'm like, oh, cringe. And it's not bad. It's like everybody afterwards was like, oh my God, that was so good. And oh my God, amazing. And blah, blah, blah. Because the public doesn't care because most of them either feel into the song or, I mean, I can sing, you can sing, we can sing.
Yes.
Right. It's not like people will stand there and critique us. So what I find more interesting is that people in general find it acceptable to comment to you about your style of voice.
Yeah.
Right?
I like the vibrato.
So I'm sure,
like that.
yes, I'm sure you've had this as well. Because it's sorry, veering slightly off the autotune topic, but I've had this so much that people have said to me, yes, but you know, your voice there and there sounds a little bit like, and oh yes, yours is a voice that you love or you hate. I just sit there and I'm like, which means you hate it.
Yes.
So it's just kind of like those comments are just kind of like, just don't say anything then. Because I don't need your affirmation, but I also don't need your negativity. And I've had it also in rehearsal situations where musicians have tried to explain to me my voice, and I sat there and I'd literally 5 minutes before that told them, like, look, I'm working through this in my voice right now. I know I have this, and this issue. I cannot do this, what you want me to do right now, but we can transpose this song down a third so that the male lead can go up there, you know, in the strength that you wanted to. There was like loads of different things. I don't want to go into the detail, but basically I had just explained to them. I had said, look, I'm very aware of my voice. I'm very aware of what it can and cannot do. I am telling you right now, it cannot do that. I am not there yet. And then 5 minutes later, they were like, oh, you just need to kind of really give it a go. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. That's how you break your voice. That's how I broke my voice in university, with lecturers telling me you just need to give it some more oomph.
But these people, I mean, the musicians, okay, those are musicians already. They're musicians, not singers.
Yeah, but they're not vocalists. So
yeah, there you go. And then
still
the
have
other
no
people that were like negative, like, oh, you have a voice that you either love or hate. Like, are these like just general, like, just people who listen to music, like people off the street? You know, So,
and also like all the comments about vibrato and being like, oh yeah, I have a very classical voice, and I'm just there like, because I use vibrato. Why are men allowed to use vibrato? Listen to our episode on vibrato in pop music.
So yeah, I had the same thing with an ad that I was running, and I specifically said, you know, I'm using the forbidden vibrato of pop, you know, and then there was indeed a guy that commented. So he actually didn't like it, but if you comment on an ad, you're gonna get more of that artist or that, you know.
True.
So people stop doing that. Stop commenting on ads if you don't like it, you know. And I think he liked the original so much, he was like, oh, you're ruining the song. Well, then stop listening to me and go listen to your original and leave me alone. So he started with, I'm not allowed to use vibrato. I was very polite to him and like, okay, but you know, this and this and this, and we kind of started talking, and then at the end he was like, you know, artists should just sing the way they sing and not let anybody tell them how to sing. Dude, you just did that with me. You're such a dick.
I know. I remember seeing
yeah.
that comment section and just being like,
what is going on? So yeah, people
What in
think
the
they're
actual world?
experts in like
yeah,
in producing and in
yeah,
programs and add-ons and stuff and plugins, and I'm every time I'm like, okay, look, you know, I deal with this stuff every day. You listen to a lot of music, you have like a big CD and vinyl and MP3 collection, and you have Spotify and Apple Music and everything, but that does not make you a music like content, like what is in it expert.
Yeah.
So please don't.
You know what saddens me the most? Like, that is the technical side of things as well, which is also annoying. Also, when people don't realize, because I give vocal lessons and I get people in, and there's several things that really make me sad. Every single student that comes in that is over the age of, let's say, 12, 14, they all don't like their voice very much, because they're like, oh, well, people tell me so and so, like my high bits are too thin or whatever. So they have like a weakness in their voice, which is why they're going to go get vocal coaching, because they want to kind of be able to be stable throughout their voice. And then like everybody keeps commenting on it. It's like,
but
dude,
who's everybody?
Can you sing? Like, the people who can't sing. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes me really mad, because these people are really good singers, and they come in and they just, like, still, even if I've been working with them for a long time, they still have this intrinsic kind of fear of singing in front of people, because they just get criticized for it. And they have great voices. Why can't you just say, oh my God, you have a really great voice? Don't mention that the high notes weren't that great.
Because what do you know? You're not a singer.
Can you sing better? Yeah. Like, do it better first, and then criticize if you want to. But still, that's a bitch. Like that's a dick move. Why do we say dick move and not bitch move? But anyway, other side of things also, with students coming in, is that they don't realize that every single song that is recorded, or not every single, but so many pop music songs are recorded, and then you put a compressor on them. Right.
Also,
firstly, it's also
and it's
a lot of the times it's multiple tracks. It's cut. There's a compressor on it, so you cannot get this exact sound just by singing. You can with a lot of like technique and practice, but not completely. No.
It's like 50. I alone have tracks with like 50 tracks of vocals. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not Katy Perry or Lady Gaga. Can you imagine their productions? It's insane, people. Okay, there's so much that goes into vocal production. It's a thing on its own. So normal producers who do music tracks nowadays don't even touch vocals. Okay, there are a bunch of producers who have been specializing for years in only vocals, and it will go to somebody else only for the vocals. It's insane. I don't think a lot of people realize that. And you're absolutely right. Somebody who is not a singer is I don't think allowed to criticize
no, at least not in the way that would
in the way that
make
they do.
Somebody, like it's like
like
with
there's some
singing,
kind of expert, like, oh, but you're a singer,
exactly
there, and like, but what do you know?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like you can't tell people, oh, you can't have an opinion on that, because you can have an opinion. It's the question, do you have to voice it though?
Yeah.
Like, do you, like, if it's something, it's just common decency. If it's something that somebody will, that they will be hurt by, then don't do it. Like, if you've got constructive criticism because you know something about singing and you know that there may be straining, and you can be like, hey, I noticed that, like, or you can be like, hey, did you feel comfortable singing? And then the artist can maybe say, oh, there was that song that just kind of, I always strain my voice at, and I'm not really comfortable singing it, but blah, blah, blah. And then you can be like, oh yeah, because I noticed you were straining a little bit, and I've got, some insights.
But then you're an expert.
Then you're an expert. So just don't say anything, because if you're just saying, oh, that sounded shit, that's not polite in any shape.
Look, it's like a painter. that's also an artist, right? So I don't mean just painting your house. I mean like a canvas. So I'm not a painter. I'm really not gonna tell anybody like how to paint or if they're painting the wrong way or the right way. I know nothing about that. What I do know is if I like the painting or not. But that is obviously subjective to me, and I think I am allowed to say, look, you can paint. That's amazing how you did that. But, the colors that you used are not my thing, or, the theme that you used are not my thing. But that's a subjective thing. And the artist knows that, half of the world won't like the painting and half of the world will like the painting. But I can't go and say, oh, the white that you used there had to be like ivory, actually. And, the way that you dabbed how can I, as a non-painter, even start saying that? But people, because they listen to music, feel entitled to be able to criticize someone's voice while they well know that they can sing. It might be not their bag or their genre that this person is singing, but don't, it's a very personal thing. It's your voice. You can't change it. It's inside. Well, you can with exercise, but it's intrinsic to your body. It's very personal, and you can hurt somebody very deeply if you go and, like hit them. Yeah. It's not like a car you bought and like, oh, somebody doesn't like your car. It's not like a part of your arm, it's okay. It's a car. It's separate from you. So I think that is the difficulty also with art and other things that happen in the world, like a job that you go to from 9 to 5 where you're selling somebody else's vacuum cleaner, and if somebody disses the vacuum cleaner, well, then you're whatever, you go sell it to another person the next day. But your voice and your art and your music and your feelings and everything that you put into this thing that you made from scratch, and then people just dissing it, that is always, that's what we kind of talked about in, I think, Imposter syndrome as well, is very hard for artists. I mean,
it's really difficult.
We're going away from Autotune, but I think it's all linked.
It is linked, because Autotune, like the only reason Autotune, or one of the only reasons Autotune is really used, is because it has to sound perfect. And I think that that's really the executives deciding that, which I find actually quite stupid, because a load of the executives probably can't sing either. So it's like, why are you deciding this for people? I, for myself, really love listening to the raw recordings, live streams, because then I can hear what they're doing. I can hear, oh my God, either A, they're using their voice like this, or I'm like, oh, there's so much feeling in that, or I'm like, oh, they changed the melody, that's so cool, or oh God, I don't like that change of melody, but still, it's their song. They're probably like really sick of singing it the normal way. You kind of just feel the life behind it all, and you see the artist, and you kind of you feel more connected, and I feel more valid as an artist when I hear other artists also singing without autotune and making like small mistakes, because I just sit there and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not the only one.
I'm not. I can actually sing.
Exactly.
I know. I had some recordings that I saw from Katy Perry from her I Kissed a Girl album. Like, what was it called? One of the Boys. And and it was normal. It was normal. Obviously, it was like at the start of her career. So she probably has a lot more technique now and other things that have grown in the meantime. Yeah. But I just thought like, oh wow, yes, good. Okay, if she can do it, I can do it. This is good.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, to get back to autotune completely, so what you described with Justin Bieber actually happened with Madonna. And I'm not sure that a lot of people in the States are aware of this, but in Europe, we are aware. Why? Because it was at the Eurovision.
Hey.
So this is
don't tell the Americans about Eurovision.
Don't
they learnt about it last year, and we weren't happy.
They're doing their own Eurovision. I mean, not Eurovision, but
is
American
that why
Vision.
there wasn't a hype about Eurovision this year from America?
Probably.
So just forgot about it.
In 2019, don't tell. In 2019, Madonna came out, or was it 18? She came out with her latest album, which was the more Spanishy one. She did a lot of things with, she's always had like Spanish things throughout her career, but this was with some South American artists, right? So she does this, and obviously, she gets to do the I want to say halftime show, but it's like in the middle between the contest and when the voting is going on. So they need to buy time to like, entertain everybody while the voting is going on.
Yeah.
So, and she comes out and she does 2 songs off the new album. And the autotune was wrong. I mean, the autotune was like completely off, completely. So it was in the wrong... it was in the wrong setting, the wrong tone, and it was like a mega overdrive. I think it was just on maximum.
Oof. Yeah.
And so she was singing, and you could see in her face that she knew, but she is so professional that it was like, it's live, so you can't stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she decided not to stop and just to like go for it, like wow, and like give the performance. And that is also something that I have seen from her in like when you look at documentaries of back in the day when Madonna was starting up, and then they have all these interviews with her producers from back then, and that's exactly what one of them was saying, like, don't worry about the way it sounds. We can fix that, obviously, on recording. We can fix that, but you have to give me the emotion. And that's exactly what she did in that instance, in that live show. And it was a bit sad, though, because obviously nobody was helping. Nobody had noticed, or nobody was fast enough to fix it. And it just kept going on. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? And I mean, to be honest, Madonna, she's been using Autotune a lot for her whole career, because she is not like the best singer out there. If you can compare it with like Christina Aguilera, who is much more precise and has much more technique and is just, honing that all the time. Yeah. And, if that's not your bag, then that's fine. It's just that, Madonna is a studio singer, and she doesn't have a lot of volume and a lot of power. But, different singers, different things. I love Madonna still. So, that for me is I just know. And if as a singer, you know your strengths and weaknesses, that's fine. I mean, she can put on a hell of a show, and that's her strength. Yeah. So this was going on, and then she had the second song come in. So there was like a change somewhere where they had some more time to do stuff, and then it was a bit better, but it was still there. And then they were kind of like, you could really, if you really looked hard, you could kind of see it on her face that she was so angry.
Oh, I bet somebody got fired after that.
Rolled. But then, you know what they did? So to not lose the content of that performance for her website and everything, for the fans in America and the other parts of the world, they actually auto-tuned it back. So you could go, I don't know if it's on there still now, but it's definitely on YouTube. There's the original Eurovision one, which is so bad. And then there's the one that she put on her, so for only her part, actually, not the whole contest, obviously, that she put on her website, which was auto-tuned back, and which is perfect, or like at least as perfect as it should have been. And
so insane.
And it's insane. So she didn't lose the content. She had the video to put on. Like, I was in the Eurovision. So this is just to illustrate how different people look at things differently. And sometimes the truth hits you in the face. And for the people who didn't watch Eurovision, who didn't know, a lot of fans of hers in the States, they just saw the video and thought, oh my God, this is so good, and this and that. And they have no idea what went wrong actually on the day.
Also, you have to say to that, though, that they didn't auto-tune the song back from the whole like recording of the video. It was probably the tracks, the separate tracks were recorded live during the show.
It's tricky because the video obviously has both at the same time, and also interaction with the public, because there's 60,000 people in the arena.
It's super tricky, but
it's very tricky.
Do you think they probably recorded like the different?
No, you can hear it.
Streams?
You have to go and watch. I'll put the link in the show notes for everyone. Because you can, if you know. You can hear it that they auto-tuned like the parts as much as they could without like distractions from other sounds coming in.
there's going to be a lot of bleed. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so interesting.
It was very funny to see, like, will they like completely ignore this and make it disappear from the face of the earth, or what are they going to do? And so they decided just to act as if everything was no, because the original version that Eurovision
was probably
still,
like, we're not making the effort, but Madonna probably was like, oh no, hell no, that's not my problem, because it wasn't her fault.
You're not going to put a live like that, like as is on your own website. You're going to change it up. So that's what they did. So anyway, this is just, it's interesting. I don't love or hate Madonna more or less for anything that happened there, but it is a fact that she's like not the best singer, and she sings live with Autotune, guys. Come on. Yeah. So stop making these like,
and the thing is, like,
things on TikTok.
When we say the best singer, I assume you're like, because you were saying beforehand, like Christina Aguilera and stuff like that, who are just like insanely talented. Well, not just talented, they just work every day, I think, on their voice. So they've also, something a lot of people don't understand also when vocal students come to me is that they're like, oh my God, I want to sing like, I don't know, whoever, Christina Aguilera, Ariana Grande, Ed Sheeran, whoever. And I just sit there and I'm like,
is another one
Jessie
of those.
J, another one, yeah. And I'm like, yes,
but how much time do you have?
Exactly. Do you want to spend the next 10 years singing every day?
Yeah,
because that's what it's going to take.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, talent is also, some talent is born, but every talent is honed. All those people at the top, they honed their talent.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So it's
I think because some people could just sing and you think you're a good singer, and then you're like, yeah, but they underestimate the extra work that goes into just controlling your voice and just
and knowing your voice.
Yes, knowing your voice,
knowing where to control your voice,
taming it. Yes, taming it, and getting to know every. You know, I've been singing my whole life, and I have only realized in the last, like, I think 8 years that I can now feel the inside of my face. I couldn't do that when I was 5.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that when I was 10 or 18 or 25. Now
I can.
I can. Well, yes, but you've had training.
I've had training.
Exactly.
Yes.
I didn't have that training. I just sang. You know, I sang the shit out of things, and everybody says like, oh, but like specific training. Yes, I did do a couple of things, but not like uni like you. So I didn't have.
I didn't learn this in uni. I learned this outside of uni with my vocal coach.
With a vocal coach. Well, you see, so my vocal coaches weren't as good as I thought they were. You see,
she's insane. Angela Durrant.
Angela.
She's doing stuff, but
we had her on the show.
Yeah, exactly. She was on the show, Maverick.
Yep. So I can like now feel where is the problem inside my nose, inside my whole system. Is it behind my eyes? Is it in this sinus, this sinus?
Yeah,
I can feel that now, and that's just because I've kept using it and kept honing it and kept.
And you've listened, not on the outside,
but also looked for vocal coaches in real life. Now there's YouTube. You just learn so much, and it's not like, oh, when you can do this at 18, you can do this at 65. That is not the case. You have to keep working at it, and your voice does change. Like in the last episode, one of the last episodes, I talked about how I had a problem with my throat a couple of years back.
Yeah,
and that also has given me more insight into how do I use my throat, my tongue, my voice, my the connection with everything. Anyway, this is very technical, but people understand.
If you want a technical episode, drop us a comment. We can definitely do a technical episode on singing if you want to.
I just want the takeaway for all the artists listening to be: don't listen to people who are not experts. Do find experts, and ask them questions, but don't let people who just listen to music bring you down. There's a fine line between just saying you don't like a thing or actually criticizing somebody on their technique while you're not that technically.
I'd add to that, find people, if you're looking for experts, find people who challenge you, but also who ultimately support your style
and encourage you.
Yeah. That's all for today. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Unboxing Women. If you've ever had an experience you'd like to share with us, send us a DM or tag us in your post with the hashtag suchabitch, or send us an email at suchabitch@unboxingwomen.com.
Wait, you're going so fast. I have to
I know. I'm doing a power outro.
My mouse doesn't work anymore. Sorry. It's going to be without a banner.
It's no banner. I'm sorry. So I'll say that again. Drop us an email at suchabitch@unboxingwomen.com. Don't forget to drop us a like on Instagram or wherever you're listening. My name is Micah Rose and I've been chatting with Dana Rex, and this is a weekly show, so make sure to tune back in next week, same time, same place. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, bye. Bye-bye.